Yeah, what's up, fam? You already know. Derek Diablo. Ooh, Diablo CBC, Diablo TV. Like and subscribe, do things you're supposed to do. And in preparation for the new year, 2022, you understand, these are dark times, you know what I mean? So a lot of people ain't experiencing happiness. In Florida here, things may be a bit different, but a lot of places elsewhere, it ain't so good. And this is gonna be the first video in a series because what's not documented is the history of South Florida old school gangs. So from anthropological perspectives and for cultural history perspectives and so forth, and also for mentoring the young men and the younger children and at-risk youth, which I've been doing my whole career, you feel me? It's important that we do this culturally and study how it came from New York gangs and Chicago gangs to Miami, California gangs and so forth, you feel me? So I know how this came to be, and I was around for it. I'm not saying I was the biggest, baddest gangbanger of all time and stuff like that, but I did move around a lot of different places, as people know. In the comments below, in the same way that I've been exposing and been a historian for the English hooligan gangs as a pastime, and as I say that the hooliganism is to me like a retirement program for ex-gang members and ex-extremists and so forth, that there is an element of violence and brotherhood, but it's a match day thing, and you're encouraged to have a successful life and so forth with the hooligan lifestyle. But now going back into my history, for some people may think I'm a clown or something like that, which I don't mind to play around and have a good time online, as I've done. It got me a Vice documentary, didn't it? But now, as far as the reality of it, so this is only part one. In the comments below, all you OG gangbangers from the old school of South Florida and everything, that's from before my time, after, and so forth, you feel me? It's all about respect in the sense of documenting this. So everything prior to 1999 and prior. So I'm born in 1974. In those oldest days, and my dad was a DJ, rest in peace, he died when I was 4, you dig? Now, in those days, I know they had Los Piratas, they had pirates, they had Latin Kings for sure. Now, was these Latin Kings connected to Northeast in Chicago? I can't say. So now, moving forward, I also heard of Volcanos, which in those days would be Vikings, you feel me? So then, this is before, you know what I mean? This is when I'm the 70s you talking about in South Florida. There was a Latin Kings, but was it connected to any New York or Chicago? I don't believe it was necessarily. Now moving on. By the time I come around, 1982, I'm 8 years old, you dig? I'm breakdancing, b-boying. And then this then goes into the history of New York stuff, and I'm a Zulu, chapter 3, chapter 7, but that was a street gang from South Florida that at one time was connected with Universal Zulu Nation as founded by Africa Bambaataa, but was thereafter not connected with, so that's a whole another story, you already know. But it's like this. So as far as, you already know. So as far as it goes, it was, when I was a young man, it was about b-boying and breakdancing. By the time 1984 hit, I'm 10 years old, I'm breakdancing and everything. And obviously you can see that the hip hop music and the breakdancing brought everybody together. And then for me, the movie Breaking came out when I was on the way from 5th grade to 6th grade, understand? And that must be 1984 or 1985. And by the time I got to middle school, breaking was over. And what I saw is, in my mind, those structures that existed from the breakdancing crews became gangs, you dig? So then, when it comes to Broward, where I was, where I grew up in little suburbs and stuff, there wasn't no proper gangs. And then when I was with my people, my family in Miami and stuff, I wasn't exposed to that or whatever like that. But in Broward, where I represent, where I came from, Fort Lauderdale, top gangs of all time, Zulu, which I became, it's 3 chapters over 500 deep. Chapter 3, chapter 7, they had a chapter 6 in Hollywood also. There've been other renegade chapters, but that was the hardest gang, biggest gang ever in Broward. To me, second place in Broward gangs would be Legion, ex-Legion. And I'm not gonna sit here and do all the signs of everybody and everything like that. You know, I'm not, talking about, maybe we could address that at another time. But yeah, Legion, ex-Legion. In Broward, to me, that, and don't forget about Davy Boys now. Wait a minute. Davy Boys and ex-Legion. People might underestimate Davy Boys. And if you watch my videos, fam, if you're from South Florida, look what I did with all the hooligan video. We could do the same thing, but it has to be done with respect. This is old stuff. It don't exist no more. Maybe we can all make money off it telling these stories, you dig? So with that being said, Davy Boys, Legion, ex-Legion, to me those, apart from Zulu, was the most powerful in Broward. Oh, speaking of that name, ooh, I remember MPN, Most Powerful Nation. That was a gang that was out of, you already know, in Plantation area. Ooh, hell, I wrote down a bunch of names, but here's the thing about it. If anybody could find around 1989, 1990, New Times, Broward, Palm Beach, or maybe it was Dade County, they had put out an episode on gangs, and it had, on the right hand side, it had all the gangs broken down in the sense of folk nation, people nation, and outlaw renegade. So what I am, Zulu, was considered outlaw renegade, although prior to that, at one time I was affiliated with folk. So then, if anybody out there, I can't find it online, if anybody got that New Times magazine, New Times local newspaper, it had a breakdown of like 20 gangs that were affiliated with like folk nation, and like 15 that were people nation, and then a bunch of them were outlaws. If you said as outlaws, us Zulu from Broward, hated by any Dade County gang. Like I used to say in I-95, cowards from Broward get sprayed in Dade, you dig? So we come into Dade County and we're already enemies of every Dade County gang, which is primarily all Latino gangs, like Latin Kings, Latin Force, and so forth. And then I'm in Zulu, which was a mixed race gang, mainly actually Latinos with blacks and whites in it, and we're from Broward, so we're automatically hated, you dig? So, but this story goes much deeper. You had the Evil Nation from North Miami. I remember fighting against those guys, also made friends with some of those guys within the so if we could get that list from New Times, that's going to give us a database, and I try to recreate some of it, but you know what I mean, we need to put all this knowledge together. I'm going to put some links below about stuff having to do with 80s and 90s gangs in Miami, but the gang culture is being talked about a lot in the trap lore and so forth all over the internet, and people are doing a lot of videos talking about this, and people around the world want to know about it. So what happened in South Florida? From Mariel boat lift, here we are in Cayocho, you dig, where my people came from the Freedom Tower. What happened from that time to Scarface to South Beach getting to be famous? Because when I was a kid, South Beach, nothing was there. It was just gang members, you dig? And moving on with these gangs, you have black gangs, what? A 22 Ave, that has to do with Liberty City, you already know. 22 Ave Playboys, I believe they were called. You had the LPP, another black gang, Lincoln Park Players. You had 56th Ave, 34th Street. You had the Hialeah boys. So Hialeah was like a clique. And then going back to the late 70s, early 80s, my older cousins from Carroll City, MCC, Miami Carroll City gang, they were Chicago Bulls. They would fight with Hialeah. You had them. And then with all the skinhead gangs with my shit, I'm going to go into that in the future. Old Breed, Grudge, Yeso, all the things that, you know, it lead into Jody Mathis and a lot of us fighting the Nazis and how all that came in. There was also a 9RV from Broward. 9 Ruthless Villains, and one of them chaps was a Puerto Rican who was from Chicago, and he was a Spanish Cobra, insane Spanish Cobra, and I hung out with those dudes, and I vibe with them, because the thing about it is I'm strange, I'm in the weird gangs, and I'll bring that up in future times, but it has to do with anti-racist skinheads. But then we join other gangs, and in the skinhead gang you might have different people from different other gangs, so it had to do with us being with Zulu from Broward, you feel me, and affiliated with other gangs, street gangs, black and Latino gangs, who joined with us in our fight against the Nazis. No activists did, no college kids, nothing like that, just gang members. And to try to wrap it up a little bit, and I'll open the conversation up, you used to have the INP, International Posse, I think there were folks, yeah, Wilo, young Latin organization, pretty sure there were folks, obviously had Kings on their side, you know what I'm talking about. And then what about some Baby Demons? I remember Baby Demons. Of course you had the Latin Syndicate, which still goes on to this day. I met some of them chaps and stuff like that not too long ago in the MMA game, let's say. And in the oldest days, let's say when I was a young man getting into this stuff heavy in the 1990s, let's say, Latin Disciples, and my man Playboy Frankie Cruz was actually from Elgin or Chicago area. He's the one who started it. Of course you had them dudes out there. So I'm gonna leave it on that for right now, but open the conversation of old school South Florida gangs, 1970s through 2000. If you know about it, say something in the comments.